Hi, my name is DeDe. Over the next 30 minutes, we'll do a yoga practice which focuses on developing and utilizing greater strength throughout the entire body. You can get strong, you can stay strong, or you can get even stronger from this session. Here's what you'll need. If you're on a hard surface, use a yoga mat positioned like I have mine. A folded towel, we'll need that for some padding. Some water to sip on throughout. You won't need your shoes or your socks. Give yourself plenty of room. A nice quiet environment is good if you can manage that. And remember to move at your own pace, which means if you need to rest during some of the strengthening that we'll be doing, feel free to rest. Child's pose is a good resting pose if we're down. Mountain pose is a good resting pose if we're standing. We're going to begin down on the mat in a supine or face-up position. So you come down to the floor any way that works for you. And then we're going to, if you need it, fold your towel to put underneath your head and neck so your neck has support. If you don't need that though, you just put the towel off to the side for now. Then let's lie all the way down. Get comfortable. You can straighten out your legs if that feels good for your lower back. Otherwise, keep your knees bent. You can separate your legs if your legs are straight. Now we're going to place our hands one on top of the other, right on top of our navel. And then bring your elbows in kind of close so your elbows can rest on the floor, on the mat, whatever you're on. And then slide your shoulders down away from your ears. Close your eyes here if you're comfortable doing that. And then we'll start to breathe into our navel center. So during the inhale, try to puff out your navel into your hands. And then on the exhale, as you relax, the air leaves your body and your navel comes back down. Let's try that for a moment. All right, now if your eyes are closed, let them open. And we can take our hands off of our navel now. Take your arms down to your sides. If your legs are straight, bend one knee, place the foot on the mat, bend the other knee, same thing. Now we're going to be doing some bridge lifts, and we'll get right into our strengthening almost immediately. But we need to take the pillow out from under our head and neck if we still have that. So if your folded towel is there, lift up your head, slide it off to the side. Now the arms come down to the sides. This is important. You want your feet not too wide apart, about hip joint distance. And you want your feet even and straight. All right, let's inhale, press your hands down, press your feet down. And as you exhale, you draw the pelvis up, squeezing your gluteal muscles in your hips. Inhale, come down. Try not to turn your head here. exhale, lift up. And we'll keep going with this. Now, as you lift up, you want to keep your back in a neutral position. So you're not overly arching your back. You're not rounding it. It stays in its natural shape. All right, we're going to be a little unsteady now, but this is how we get stronger. So as you push up this time, lift your right heel and then bring everything down. And this time, lift your left heel. Let's do that a few more times, alternating the heels. We're still providing a big squeeze through our gluteal muscles. And one more. Now you can keep doing the lifting of the heel, or you can go with me and lift your entire foot this time and then come down. So you're stabilizing with your hands. You're lifting with your remaining leg. You're not lifting your lifted foot very high, just maybe 12 inches or so off the mat. So feel how hard your supporting leg, your lower back, and your gluteal muscles are working in your hips. Remember the option to stop and rest whenever you need to. We only have one more. All right, and then come down. Bring your knees into your chest. One hand on each knee. Now you're going to circle your knees around in one direction. Both knees, same direction. Now your arms are creating the motion here. If you feel like you need to add your pillow back underneath your head, go ahead and do that right now. You want your neck to remain comfortable. And then let's reverse the circle. Use your arms. That feels good on the lower back, doesn't it? One more. All right, and then the knees come into the chest. Once again, the arms are down. Let's alternate one heel at a time, pressing up. Flexing your foot. You don't have to straighten your knee completely. You can keep it bent. Straighten it as much as you can. Don't force anything. Now we'll make this a little bit more about strengthening. To the best of your ability, begin to take your leg out at more of a 45-degree angle. Now, if that immediately makes your lower back feel too tired or too challenged, then you'll go back to the more straight up position. But otherwise, you're trying to press out at a 45-degree angle. Keep the flex in your foot. So can you feel where this is strengthening besides in our legs, besides in our ankles and the tops of our feet? It's our abdominal muscles. With this angle, they're more challenged. All right, let's bring both knees back into the chest, and then we'll circle around in one direction through the ankles and the other direction. All right, now playing off of what we just did, let's try this. Arms down. You might want to look first before you get into the position. How about 90 degrees at our knees? That means our knees are directly over our hips and our shins are parallel to the floor. Stabilize with your arms once again. Now, keeping the knee 90 degrees, touch your heel down and then bring the knees back to 90 and touch your other heel down. So if this feels okay for you, keep going with it. Maybe you just need to hold this position. Maybe you don't need to move from here. Or maybe 90 degrees isn't suitable for you. It feels too challenging, in which case you'll just hold here. So you do what you can do. If you can, though, try to maintain this 90 degrees. Three more. And then once again, draw your knees back into your chest if they're not there already. Circle around through your ankles, both directions. Now we'll take both feet down and we'll do something similar with our wrists and our fingers, circling around, extending and flexing, squeezing and spreading the fingers out, making a fist and circling, extending and flexing. All right, now let's turn over. Use your hands to press you up. And then we'll come into child's pose. You're probably going to want some extra padding under your knees. I know I do. So place your folded towel under your knees. Now this is one version of child's pose, an easier version. This is a little tougher. And this one's even tougher. So you decide which one feels best for you. So the more folded you are across your hip joints, the less space you have in the front of your torso for breathing. So bring the breath into your side ribs and your back ribs right now. Earlier we were doing some navel expanding breath. It's not easy to do that when you're in child's pose. So do some rib expanding, back rib expanding breath right now. All right, if your arms are not fully extended, go ahead and extend them now. Your hands are shoulder width distance apart. Let's inhale forward. Make a straight line from the crown of your head back through your knees. And then exhale and sit back as far as you can, however far that is. And then we'll do it again. So notice as we come forward that the shoulders come right over the wrists or maybe even a tiny bit beyond the wrists. And speaking of wrists, if it feels better when you come forward to be up on your fists, sometimes that feels better for your wrists. So feel free to do that instead. We're moving at the pace of our breathing, our deep breathing. Okay, now you may want to take a peek at this before you do it. So we're coming forward on an inhale. We're bending our elbows a bit on the exhale. We're inhaling and straightening the elbows, and then we're exhaling all the way back. Try it with me. Inhale forward. Now your elbows bend toward your feet as you exhale, so tuck the elbows in. Inhale, push back up again, and exhale back. So this is strengthening for our core muscles, our shoulders, and our arm muscles, specifically the triceps. Hi, Prissy. How about one more? And then we'll slide all the way back and we'll stay here. Now you can relax your arms a bit more. You don't have to stretch them out. All right, as you're resting your upper body, think about where you felt the fatigue. Was it in the back of your upper arms or maybe the front of your shoulders? So So we're getting stronger in those areas with some of those yoga push-ups. All right, we're coming forward again. Our hands are forward, coming forward. Now we'll do bear pose. If you haven't done it before, watch one time. So we tuck the toes under, inhale, push your hands forward, and as you exhale, lift your knees off the ground. Inhale, set them back down, and then exhale, slide back a little bit. You don't want to overstretch your toes. Let's do it again. Inhale, forward. Exhale, bear pose. Inhale, down. Exhale, ease back a little bit. And again, make sure your shoulders are away from your ears. Now just two parts. Inhale, come forward, bear pose. Exhale, lower down. And we'll do it again. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Two more. One more. All right, untuck your toes. Sit back, child's pose. Take another quick break. Remember, if child's pose doesn't feel comfortable, you can choose a different resting pose, like lying on your side, lying on your back, lying all the way face down with your forehead resting on your hands. Any of those work. It's important that the resting pose that you choose feels restful, not uncomfortable or like too much effort. All right, coming into our extended child's pose once again, if you're not there currently. Let's inhale forward into the full plank and then exhale into downward facing dog. Take just a moment to alternate your heels, pressing one heel at a time toward the ground. And feel the limbering and the stretching in your calves and your toes, hamstrings. All right, press both of your heels down evenly now, and let's stretch out into plank pose. Inhale, plank, back into down dog as you exhale. And do that a few times. So remember, when you stretch out, you're in one long straight line from the crown of your head through your heels, and then you push back. One more. All right, now you'll step the foot that's furthest away from me forward between your hands. So sometimes you don't get all the way up with your foot, which means you have to take your hand behind your heel and step the rest of the way up. Now we turn toward one another. In a wide stance, we turn the toes out and we take the hands up on the legs. Stay here for just a moment. Press your knees out wide, bend your knees. And then let's inhale and come up. And then as we exhale, hands fold across the chest. Sit back with the hips and then stand. Sit back with the hips, push the knees wide, and then stand. So this is strengthening for our leg muscles as well as our hips. And as we tip forward like this, it's strengthening for our low back. Keep breathing. It's important that our knees not collapse inward like this, so push the weight out to the outer edges of your feet. All right, now pause here. Step in just maybe 5 or 6 inches. You still have your toes turned out. Let's cross the other arm in front this time. Inhale, exhale, sit back and down. When we're not quite as wide with our feet, it's a little easier to keep our knees aligned, but we still have to be aware that the knees are not collapsing in. This is not good. We want to make sure that the knees press outward. All right, we have one more stance. So bring your feet in a little bit closer. All right, this time the arms will go forward. So inhale, exhale, sit back with your hips. Inhale, stand up, exhale. And we'll do it again. All right, now we're going to stay down this time. Hold your arms here, or if you need to, put your hands on your thighs. Will you stop making all that noise, you crazy cat? All right, so if you're here, just make sure that your shoulders are not riding up toward your ears. How are you feeling? Are you feeling the strengthening taking place in your legs and your low back? I hope so. All right, hands on your legs. Let's stand all the way up. Now we don't need this towel right now, so take your hand on your leg, move it off of your mat, slowly stand up. Coming into mountain pose for just a moment. Hands in front of the heart. Now we'll go up and down on the tiptoes. So remember, you always have the option to come off of your mat and even go over by a wall or a countertop or a sturdy chair if that's what you need to feel secure with balancing, which is what we're doing right now. Up on the tiptoes, that's balancing. Balance training is important. After age 45, we start to lose a small percentage of our ability to balance every single year, unless we practice balance. And then we can not only maintain our ability to balance, we can even get better at balancing. You do have to practice though, and that's what we're doing here. Let's go up on our tiptoes and we'll stay there. So it doesn't have to be very high. And then we'll bring the arms up and out into a V. So we're strengthening our calf muscles right now. Can you feel that? Strengthening our ankle joints. All right, let's come down. We'll step out wide, and then we'll turn this way, and we'll come into a lunge. So that means that your right knee is over your ankle, and your left leg is straight at the knee. Then we'll come to a high lunge. Hands in front of the heart. Let's bend both of our knees. And then inhale, rise up. Exhale, sink down, bending both knees. Now, if you just need to hold still, something like this and not move, that's fine too. If it's too much balance challenge or it doesn't feel right for your joints, feel free to just do a static lunge. You don't have to move. Let's do a couple more. All right, now we stay down for a moment. Do you still have your ears over your shoulders? Try to maintain that. And then easy does it, let's turn. Let's bring our hands down to help us walk around to the other direction. And we'll find our low lunge, which means knee over ankle, left knee. Back leg is straight. Start to come up to a high lunge. And then bend both knees. Now we'll take the arms out to the sides. Inhale, straighten the legs. Arms come up. Exhale, bring the arms out to the sides. And then we'll do it again. So strengthening for our legs, some flexibility work at the same time, balance training as well. 2 more. Now this time we stay in the down position. Let's try to bring in the arms to the up position. All right, and then we'll bring the hands down. Let's face one another, turning the toes outward, bend the knees, hands on the legs. Let's come about halfway up here. Inhale, drop one shoulder down as you exhale. And then switch. One more. All right, coming back to center, hinging up, sliding the feet in, stepping the feet in. I'm going to turn sideways for this airplane pose. You can turn sideways too, or you can still face me. Start with hands on the hips, right foot back, soften your left knee, and we'll tip forward. Now to make it airplane pose, take your arms out with your thumbs up. Try to make one straight line from the crown of your head through your lifted heel. Now hands on your hips, and we'll tip back up. And we'll do the other side. Tip forward, your leg rises, and then your arms come out. Feel the strength down the back of your body, also creating some strength and stability in our hip joints. Hands on your hips, stand back up. All right, facing me once again if you're not currently doing that. Shoulders back and down, take your arms down. Inhale, exhale over. Hold it here. Feel the big stretch down the side of your body. And then inhale up, and we'll exhale over. Stay here. All right, inhale up, and then exhale, both arms come down. Now we're going to do a hip stretch. You're more than welcome to sit down in a chair to do this, or as I said earlier, to go over near a wall or a countertop for balance. Let's start with our feet close together, about hip joint distance apart. Carefully now, keep your balance, cross your right ankle over your left knee, and push your hips back. Rest your hands on your folded leg, and we'll stay here. So the back is straight, you're pushing your hips back. Feel the stretch in your right hip because your right ankle is crossed on top. And then we'll stand and we'll switch. So that's some strengthening for our legs as well. Here we go. Left ankle on top, push the hips back, keep the back neutral and straight. Tip forward just a bit. And then breathe. All right, and then we'll stand all the way up, and we'll take both feet down. All right, make a fist, and then the little finger sides of your fists go here on the sides of your hips. Draw your elbows back. Stay here. I just want to show you from the side. So we don't have our shoulders going up. Push the shoulders down and then watch the elbows sweep around behind. Feel the stretch through your chest the fronts of your shoulders. And then release that. Roll your shoulders. Let's tip our ear toward our shoulder on the right side. Stay here. Now take your left hand and slide it further down. Down your hip, down your leg even. And keep trying to close the gap between your ear and your shoulder. And then we'll come up and we'll do the other side. Remember, you want to start with excellent posture and then ear to shoulder. And then your right hand reaches down, further down if it can, further down. And then we'll come back up. All right, one more chest expansion stretch. So behind our back, we're going to lace our fingers together like this. Lace the fingers. If that doesn't work for you, do the one that we did here a moment ago. Draw the shoulder blades back. Again, I'm going to show you from the side just so you can double check that you're not doing this. Pull the shoulders down, and then if you're able to, lift your arms away from your body. It's okay if you can't do that. If it feels like way too much stretch, don't do it. Just leave your arms close to your body instead. Take deep breaths into the stretching parts. Move your neck around a little bit if you want to. All right, let's release that. Roll your shoulders one more time. So how did you do? Remember, what doesn't challenge us doesn't change us. So if you were challenged in this session, that's a good thing. That means you're going to get stronger. You'll be able to do more next time. So until next time, thanks for joining me and stay well.